Coming in at number 40 on the Locked On Senators NHL Draft rankings, we're going to the WHL. It's Koehn Ziemmer. And man, this kid from Prince George, he can play.
Oh, yeah, big time. Prince George has a couple of studs on their team. I believe Riley Height is the other guy there. And these two put up big points over in Prince George. And you got to respect the skill here because Koehn Ziemmer in 68 games, 41 goals, 48 assists for 89 points in 68 games. And he's a real dual threat type offensive player, Ross. He had 7 points in 10 playoff games, and he had a 32-point increase from his last season. And this kid has some pedigree in his younger years as he was drafted 4th overall in the WHL Bantam draft back in 2019.
So, an Alberta kid who's just dominated every level. How about in his U50? I always like looking sometimes at what they did in minor hockey.
It's wild sometimes.
Had to be such a joke for him. 76 points in 29 games must be nice in the Edmonton area. But okay, let's get back to present day. He's a guy who isn't afraid to get in the mix physically. I think that's the first thing that stood out to me. He's going to be hard on the forecheck. He's going to be able to, kind of be a bowling ball out there and run people over, get into open spots. He's over 200 pounds already. I think you're looking at a guy with a pro frame, and I think he's way higher than 40 on my list. I'll start with that. But 7 points in 10 playoff games. How do our scouts rank him? Well, Scott Wheeler has him at 31, Craig Button at 32. So they both agree that he's a first round talent. Elite Prospects has him at 40, right where we have him. Then Chris Peters has him at 50. Corey Prodman, shocker. I don't want to say out to lunch. It's just different. Outlier, thank you. Outlier, down at 65 on his list. That's a 3rd round pick, Pilsy. I don't see that from Koehn Ziemmer. I just see a kid with a ton of talent, a ton of tools, and a lot to mold to make him the best he can be at the next level.
Yep, I like this kid a lot as well, Ross. Like I mentioned, he's a dual threat. He has an elite shot. His shot is so good. He's so creative with the puck on his stick. He's a great playmaker. He's very confident with his backhand, which I think is an underrated skill. And just a couple plays I watched. If you go on YouTube and you just look at, I think it's just titled Koehn Ziemmer Top 5 Plays of the Season. And man, they're good ones. Like there was one where he draws 3 defenders towards him. Then he goes across the slot, Ross, and then just a nice, smooth backhand pass to his teammate who's all alone and he scores an easy goal. And then there was another one where he's behind the net. All 5 opponents are collapsed at the net. He goes around as if he's going to do a wraparound. So they tighten up and then he goes farther out and from a bad angle, like a terrible angle, backhand top shelf. All 5 players puck watching him and he gets a backhand bad angled shot top shelf for a goal. Like this kid, he finds ways to score goals, whether it's him scoring or setting up his teammates. Koehn Ziemmer is a real threat offensively. I mean, he put up he put up 40 plus goals and 40 plus assists. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah, and everything he does is at a high pace when he has the puck on his stick. Now, I think there's some questions when it comes to his skating when he's, back checking or what the case may be. But I think that he's just going to bring it each and every game. He's a gamer is how I describe him, and a guy where the upside is clear to me when you're getting a guy who shoots the puck all the time too. 226 shots this past season, 2nd on his team in Prince George and putting the puck in the net 41 times, 16 of those being on the power play. So almost half of his goal production was with the man advantage. But what I also noticed is he's not in just one spot on the power play. He can kind of cycle around and be in different situations. And that just goes to the dual threat aspect of his game. It works in so many areas. He's a shooter and he's physical, but he can also in the offensive zone create in different ways.
Yep. And I think I want to touch on the physicality, Ross, because EP really harped on that, saying he's a violent player, throwing hip checks. He's constantly making contact. He's the guy out there that if you're the defenseman on his opposite side, you're getting cross-checked in the back over and over. He's nudging you. He's shoving you. Like he's letting you know that Ziemmer is on the ice. And I think for people that are dual threat offensive players, to have that physicality as part of your game just ups things and make you even more annoying and pest-like to play up against if you're going opposite on him on the ice.
What do you think the ceiling is for a player like Koehn Ziemmer?
I think ceiling is a good second line winger. I think he's going to be a middle six winger, but if he reaches his potential, I can see him being like a top tier second line winger.
And he's a right shot, right wing, and you're just going to get a guy who I think it's safe to assume he's going to play in the NHL no matter what. Even if he's like a guy who gets, AHL top scoring minutes and is a call up for a couple of years, and then he has to make the most out of those opportunities. But I think I think out of the guys in this range, he's a very good bet to get a very good chance to be an everyday NHLer.
He has those skills. The one thing, though, Ross, and reasons why some scouts have him lower on their list than you and I and maybe Scott Wheeler did is the skating is not great. Like EP even goes as far to say, like, look, if he can't get his skating up to speed or up to par with the rest of prospects in this range, all his other skills are kind of go by the wayside because he's not going to be able to keep up with the game. So I don't think that his skating is that bad, but some scouts do. And I think that's something he's going to improve on because the rest of his game, offensively, at least and physically, is really good. So I've got high hopes for Zimmer here. And I even would put him in a late first round pick, Ross.
Me too. But if he does slip to the second, give me Arizona because they have so many good playmaking centermen in their system. And even if they add another one at 6 or 12, I just think as well, like you're going to be able to build kind of different positions at that point when you have as many picks as Arizona. I just think there would be a really good fit for him and being able to play behind a Dylan Guenther, who also is that dual threat and can shoot and can hit and do all that. I just think Koehn Zimmer's great, and he could be a real breakout candidate in the WHL. A little bit of a hot take. I think he might be on Team Canada at the World Juniors next year. So look out for that for Koehn Ziemmer. If your team just drafted them, you could do a heck of a lot worse than Koehn Ziemmer. For more draft coverage, head over to Locked On Senators on YouTube. We've got 70 different profiles for you. We're a part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every single day.